High above the crushing waves, a young seagull stands on a narrow ledge. His parents and siblings have already taken to the sky, leaving him behind on this sheer rock face, separated from them by a seemingly impossible drop. Hundreds of miles away, a human pilot sits in the cockpit of an old Dakota airplane. He's cruising through a clear night sky, having just left the safe, quiet streets of Paris behind. He's focused on the simple anticipation of making it back to England for a family breakfast. A bird, grounded by his own instincts, and a human, suspended in the air by spinning propellers and compasses. Despite the different technology, both are steering straight toward a profound test of their endurance. Both find themselves in the same specific vacuum. It's that heavy, silent interval where the world falls away, leaving nothing but the weight of a single defining decision. For the seagull, the barrier is internal. He has the same wingspan as his siblings, but when he looks down at the vast stretch of sea, self-doubt takes over. He is convinced his wings simply won't support him, turning a physical capability into a psychological cage. The pilot hits a very real physical wall. Without warning, massive black storm clouds rise up in the night sky. They block his path to England, standing like dark mountains in the air. The stakes are now absolute. The seagull hasn't eaten in a day. Staying on that ledge means starvation. The pilot doesn't have enough fuel to fly around a storm. Entering it means risking a total loss of control. Both characters are pinned against the very edge of their comfort zones. They are forced to choose between the certainty of failure by staying put or the absolute terror of pushing into the unknown. The seagull's mother uses a harsh strategy to break the stalemate. She flies toward him with a piece of fish, but stops her flight in midair, just out of his reach. She is weaponizing his starvation to force his body to act before his mind can object. In the sky, the pilot makes a different kind of calculation. He could turn back to the safety of Paris, but the pull of home is too strong. He steers his vulnerable, propeller-driven Dakota directly into the pitch-black clouds. The consequences are immediate. Inside the storm, the world vanishes. The plane jumps in violent air, the compass needle spins uselessly, and the radio goes dead. Every instrument he relies on to navigate has failed. Logic and safety protocols vanish when the primitive brain takes over. For one, it's the visceral ache of hunger. For the other, a longing for the familiar. In both cockpits, the capacity for hesitation has been completely overwritten. Maddened by hunger, the seagull finally snaps. He dives blindly toward the fish. Instantly, he is plummeting, falling outward and downward into empty space, swallowed by the void he had feared for so long. At that exact moment of freefall, the pilot is also losing the fight. He is blind in the storm, his fuel is nearly gone, and he has no navigational data left to save him. Now he is bracing for the end. Then something impossible happens. Another aeroplane appears in the black clouds. It has no lights on its wings, yet the pilot inside turns and waves, signaling for the Dakota to follow. The struggle to rationally fight the situation ends. As the seagull falls, his wings instinctively spread outward, and his biology takes over. Up in the storm, the human pilot blindly follows the dark plane, trailing behind it like an obedient child. There is a specific clarity that comes when options run out. By letting go of the struggle to control an impossible situation, they make room for something else to take over, whether it's the ancient rhythm of a wing beat or a stranger's hand in the dark. The wind rushes against the seagull's breast feathers. He isn't falling, he is soaring. The paralyzing fear evaporates. Moments later, he lands gently on the sea, and his family surrounds him, screaming in celebration. Back on Earth, the Dakota bursts out of the dark clouds. The pilot looks down and sees the straight, bright lines of a runway. He glides down and lands safely, bringing his battered plane to a halt on the quiet tarmac. But when he walks into the control tower to thank the person who guided him, the woman at the desk is confused. She checks the radar logs. His Dakota was the only aircraft in the sky. The black airplane simply did not exist. Their survival reveals a strange contrast. The bird was forced into the air, only to find he possessed the tools he needed all along. The pilot made a reckless choice and survived because of an inexplicable grace he still cannot fully explain. These two descents trace the distinct ways fear takes hold. One side illustrates the mental trap of a self-imposed barrier, while the other tracks the raw physical danger of an environment that doesn't care if you survive. The seagull's journey shows that our perception often dictates our limits. He was trapped by an illusion. Breaking that mental loop required the shock of physical action, pushed by a family that refused to let him fail. The pilot's journey highlights something else. When you are entirely stripped of control by uncontrollable natural forces, logic isn't enough. You have to rely on resilience and a deep-seated faith that help can emerge from the darkest clouds. Whether the storm blocking your path is an anxious illusion in your own mind or a deadly reality in the sky above you, the requirement for survival is the same. You will never discover if your wings actually work until you are finally willing to fall.